Today we're making these adorable spring things, mini totes. I am going to show you in Design Space how to make this design using the flower elements that I've already given you. If you don't have them, check the description on where to get them, and a font in Cricut Design Space. Let me show you everything you need for this project. You're going to need mini totes, scissors, is something I always have when I'm vinyl crafting, and your weeding tools. And I am using my Maker 3, but depending on the size of your design, you could use something as small as the Joy for this project. All right, let's hop into Design Space. Go ahead and open a new project, and we are going to click on blank canvas. Let's close that to get it out of the way. The first thing I am going to do is add the initial to my first name. Let's make that a little bit bigger so that we can see it. And you'll want to change the font to something a little bit more bold. You can go over here to Cricut fonts, and the Cricut fonts will show you all of the Cricut Access fonts as well. So if you only want to see the free ones, then you can click on the little filter button and go down to free. You can also check out the purchased and downloaded and all of that. But you'll look through here and find a font that you like. I like this one. Next, you're going to bring in your SVG. So do that by clicking on upload and then go to upload image. And then you can drag and drop or browse your folder. I've already added mine, so I'm going to bring it into the canvas. It's going to come in pretty big, so go ahead and size it down to a size that makes sense. So first thing you do is ungroup these, and then you can start placing your elements onto your letter. And it's yours, so it doesn't matter how you place them. Next, what you want to do is place your other elements wherever you want them to go. There is no right or wrong way. It's your design, so whatever you like. Now that we have everything placed the way we want it, we need to make a few adjustments so that these lines aren't going through our flowers. So what I'm going to do is turn off my letter, and I'm going to take these two shapes or elements, and I'm going to weld them together on each group of designs. Now I am going to select just the flower and go up here to the little pencil and add an offset. You don't need a big offset for this. So I'm going to do, let's do 0.1. Click apply, and then I'm going to go over here to contour, and I want to hide all contours. And now I'm going to select my offset and those elements and click on slice. Now I can get rid of the offset and all the extra pieces as well. So now I can select all of these, my flower and my design elements, and go back over here to combine and click on weld. And you're going to repeat that step with each group of designs. Once you've completed the slices on all of them, you can go ahead and weld them all together. I'm going to turn my letter back on, select that weld layer, And then I am going to add another offset to them. And I'm going to make this offset just a touch bigger. 0.42 seems fine. And I'm going to go over here to contour again, and I want to hide all contours. So it hid everything because they're separated. It hid everything but one of the elements. And all I have to do is go in and turn on these other two outlines. Now with that offset selected, select your letter and then slice. And you can go ahead and weld all of this together, or if you decide you want to do two different colors or whatever, you can do that as well. I am going to weld mine all together. So I selected everything. I'm going to go to combine and weld. Before we move on to the next step, I'm going to prep my bag. They're a little bit dusty because they've been sitting in my craft room for a while. So I am going to take my lint brush. I feel like they put the paper on the wrong side, but I'm going to take my lint brush and get all that dust and lint off of there before we go to press this on. And we also need to go ahead and measure the space that we want the design to go. So I want mine to almost fill the bag, so I'm going to make it 6 inches. So back over here at the screen, I am just going to change my height to 6. It's not a huge difference, but yeah. Go ahead and click on make, and I am going to change my mat to 12 by 12 because that's what I'm using, and then turn my mirror on. There we go. So go ahead and click on continue, and I am using the Caesar Twinkle. So I'm going to select glitter vinyl and then go ahead and get this on my mat. Most of the vinyl you see me use comes from, as always, you can find all of the supplies below in the description. Just use my brayer to get everything stuck down really well. And I'm going to go ahead and load my mat into the machine. Once the machine has measured my mat, I'm going to go ahead and press the go button. I can see that one of the edges lifted and folded down. Hopefully that is not going to be an issue. It's almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and plug up my mini heat press. And I am going to press this button and set it on the highest temperature and let it heat. We can go ahead and unload from the machine. I am going to cut this roll down some, but I'm going to leave this on the mat to make it a little bit easier to read. Because this is stored in a roll, it tends to want to roll when you're working with it. All right, let's go ahead and get everything weeded out. There are some small pieces, so be careful when you're weeding. This probably could have used a second cut just to cut through the material a little bit more. There are some pieces that are sticking and don't want to come up. There's this piece right here. I can see that it is part of my J and it doesn't want to come up. And then some of the smaller outlines for the flowers are trying to come up as well. So I'm going to really take my time and weed this out, and I'll be back when it's all done. designs all weeded out. Now we can get it pressed onto our tote. I'm going to straighten this out as much as I can so that I can position my design exactly where I want it. And what I'm going to do is give this a little bit of a fold down the center of my design. So I'm going to match the end of this little flower thing to the edge of my J, and then give it a little pinch. And then I'm just going to eyeball center. From there, I'm just going to press it on. And I'm going to do this for about 20 seconds. I'm not really counting. I'm just guessing the 20 seconds. And then you can just pull your transfer off. And if you wanted to, if you thought it wasn't down good enough, you could go ahead and give it a second press. But there is our mini tote.